Hi everyone, and welcome back to my history homework. Today, I'm talking about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Now, you might be like, why do they matter? Like, what's up with them? And you're kind of right, because they're not really talked about in history. But that's why I want to talk about them, because they really interest me, and it's totally not because a musical came out recently about them, and it's about we're going to be talking about these wives in order. So the first one is Catherine of Aragon. She was, of course, the first wife, and he had the longest marriage with her. She was supposed to be his brother's wife, but his brother died, so he decided to take his brother's place to continue the treaty with Spain. It is said she's the only one he truly loved. Sorry, I keep looking down. My notes are here. So I'm going to be looking this way to check my notes to make sure I'm saying everything correctly. I'm sorry. In her time, she had bore 3 sons and 3 daughters. The only one that survived was Mary I, who later became Bloody Mary. She was the youngest daughter of the Spanish ruler, and her father, Ferdinand, refused to pay the dowry because Henry was not king yet, and he did not want his daughter to not marry a king. It is said she shared intellectual interest with her husband, and the only reason that they divorced was because she could not bear a male heir. Bear a male heir? I'm trying my best. Even though the Pope approved their marriage, the Pope did not approve their divorce, because he had already said he blesses the marriage, so why would he unbless the marriage? So he did not like that. He also didn't want to upset Spain in the process, so he refused to say anything. Catherine of Aragon was said to be loved by the British people, but after her divorce, Henry isolated her from all of them. The next wife we're going to talk about is Anne Boleyn, and she is the second wife. Fun fact, her sister, Mary Boleyn, actually had an affair with Henry VIII while he was married to Catherine of Aragon. And then when he met Anne Boleyn, he threw her sister aside and said, "I want you." And the only reason he married her was because she said, "I will not sleep with you until you court me and wed me." For some reason, they had a secret marriage. It was not public like the rest of his marriages. She's the reason we have the Anglican Church, because she started kind of the Anglican Church. The Boleyn family, which is her family, became chaplains of the church. Her nickname was the Queen Consort of England. She bore a single daughter. She had many admirers, and she was unpopular with the court because she was arrogant. Henry did eventually divorce her, but he wanted to hold a trial because he believed she was sleeping with someone. He had little evidence, but she was still found guilty, and then she was beheaded. The next wife we have is wife number 3, Jane Seymour. 10 days after Anne's execution, she was married to Henry VIII. There was a possibility she was a mistress while he was married to Anne, but that's not quite true, I guess. No one's actually proved it. She did give birth to a son. She then died after the child was born. Because Henry loved that she gave him an heir, he had so much grief when she died. It was said that he was mourning for weeks after her death. It's also mentioned that she was the daughter of a knight, which means she was of lower class than the rest of the women he married. She was the only wife to have a proper queen's burial during Henry's time. And she is laid to rest. I'm going to look at my notes while I say this. She was laid to rest at St. George Chapel at Windsor Castle, and Henry VIII is buried right next to her. The 4th wife is Anne of Cleves. In case you don't know, she was a German princess. It was by far the shortest of all of Henry's marriages, and it is said they never consummated the marriage. He only married Anne to make a political alliance with Germany, because he liked her brother. It is said that he saw a portrait of Anne and fell in love with her face, but when he met her, she was less attractive and was very disappointed. He also resented her lack of sophistication and limited command of the English language. She was supposed to marry a separate English monarch, but Henry annulled that. Once they divorced, she was actually paid to stay in England. She lived in Hever Castle and then maintained a close relationship with Henry after that. She is known as the king's sister. Moving on to the fifth wife, Catherine Howard. She was the second wife to be beheaded by Henry VIII. And fun fact, Anne Boleyn was her first cousin. She was actually the maid of honor at Anne of Cleves' wedding. Henry then became enamored with her. She married Henry at 16 while he was 49. He then found out about her affairs before their marriage. And some of these affairs were Henry Mancock, who was a music teacher, Frances Dereham, who had called her his wife and her cousin, Thomas Culpeper, to whom she had been engaged once before. And fun fact again, Dereham later became her secretary while she was married to Henry. That's why he thought she was committing adultery. She was accused of treason for committing adultery while married to Henry. 3 months after she was no longer queen, they beheaded her. This is when Henry passed a law that the wife of a king, or if a king wanted to marry a woman, she could not have sex before she was married to the king. So she had to be a virgin. And the final wife, number six, Catherine Parr. She was the most influential queen in making sure Henry's lineage continued. Became the restorer of his court. She did this by uniting all the children and teaching them lessons and present them to the world as a close family. When she did after educating his legitimate children, she then passed a law to make sure that his illegitimate children became his legitimate children. It is said she was very tactful. This enabled her to exert her beneficial influence. It is said Henry trusted her so much that he left the kingdom in her hands when he went off to war. She was nicknamed Queen Regent. When Henry died, she was allowed to keep her gowns, jewels, crown, and all that, and reside in one of his castles as well. Henry was actually her third husband, and she had 4 in total. She is known as the most married queen. That completes all the wives of Henry VIII. And it was very interesting to look this all up because I liked the musical and I wanted to fact check it, and it seems pretty close to the truth. Of course, there seems to be some things that they've exaggerated, but I really appreciate the musical more after doing all this research. And I hope you will too. You should really check it out. It's amazing and I love the music from it. Thank you for watching. I don't know what else to say. Just listen to 6. Please, just listen to 6 the musical. It's so good. Just listen to it, please. You won't regret it, please. Please listen.